that, sir.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. All right, great. Hey, just working through some technical difficulties. Sorry about the delay. We're going to go ahead and let people come on board the town hall here. So normally we do this on Facebook and YouTube, but unfortunately with some technical issues, we can't do the YouTube stream today, but we'll have plenty of attendance on Facebook, I think. We got a lot of good material to go through today, and so certainly, and I've had that extra cup of coffee to work my way through this, and so folks here will tell me if I'm talking too fast, but I do have a lot of stuff to cover. So I think it's good to start off with happy birthday to our Navy, 245 years young, and so there's a lot of virtual content out there to celebrate the Navy birthday. So, you know, check that out. We've got the SecNav and CNO have posted video messages. Also, here at NES Whidbey Island, we've got Navy Birthday Celebration Week going on. So you're not going to read through all that right now, but there's a lot of stuff that we're doing to celebrate the Navy birthday this week. Fun run and Call of Duty stuff. There's 75-cent wings at Kegler's during the football game. We did a cake cutting ceremony earlier at the galley. So a lot of things. You can check it out at the Navy Life P&W website, and also Navy Birthday Celebration on Facebook and Instagram. So check that out. They put a nice video together. We'll also share that off of our NES Whidbey Island page. Speaking of other stuff that's going on virtually, of course, I'm sure everybody out there has been watching our virtual open house today. So a lot of great work that has gone on behind the scenes to try to bring the open house to the community, since we couldn't do that in person. And so we've had, I had really a lot of fun this morning over in the school age care and the youth center, giving a lesson on the NASA Mars helicopter. I had my friend and classmate, Captain Chris Cassidy, join us from the space station virtually. He had to pre-record that, but certainly it was great to see him and great following him throughout his time. He's wrapping up his time on the space station here in the next couple weeks, going to be returning to Earth. Really a great American, and I enjoyed that. But I also enjoyed working with the kids there at the youth center. We wanted to do that in the school, but certainly the schools have got concerns with the things they're going through, so we did it there, but we're sharing it with the schools so they can use it as well. Speaking of the schools, I can't tell you how impressed I am with the school districts and what they're doing, trying to work through the challenges of bringing kids back to school. And so, you know, Oak Harbor School District, they've been hybrid in elementary. They've started OHI, the intermediate school, this week with the soft start. They've got plans for the middle school. They've got plans to go the next step with each of the schools, going to 4 days a week. And so really, a monumental effort from the staff there at Oak Harbor School District, working through all that. So I greatly appreciate that. As a fellow community leader, I appreciate their effort. As a parent, I definitely appreciate the effort, and I appreciate what they've done to provide people with options throughout this. So very challenging times we continue to work through here. That was a tangent too. So I did that class this morning, and so throughout the day we've had Fleet and Family Readiness, MWR program, Ombudsman, the Fire and Emergency Services, lots of great elements of what makes up the NES Whidbey Island Command in the open house. And then tomorrow we've got more from the tenant commands, like the Maritime Patrol and the Electronic Attack Wings. We've got ASTC, so you get to see what goes on inside of the Survival Training Center, CNATU, FRC, Clinic, Search and Rescue. That's always a big hit. So a lot of good stuff coming up tomorrow as well. for the open house. So again, thanks to all those who have put that together. That's quite the effort. All right, so let's start off with some COVID things. All right, because that's continues to be a very important aspect of what we're doing here. So as we look at where we are with Washington State, okay? So you can see with the Washington State graph, and this is the rate of newly diagnosed cases per 100,000, and obviously you can find all this information online, Department of Health websites, but you can see the different peaks that we've been through, and you can see right now where we had been peaking a little bit, and so it looks like we're projected to come down from the Washington State perspective. So that's good. From the Island County perspective, and obviously we have folks who live in Skagit County and Snohomish and et cetera, but obviously a lot of our folks live here in Island County and we work and do Liberty here. So that's what we're seeing in Island County. So that certainly we've followed along with Washington State on some of those peaks, but with lower numbers, which is good. But we want to be a good part of the community and continuing that effort. That's really what allows us to get the kids back in school, maintain the mission readiness that we need to as an installation. So certainly I've gotten some throughout questions about, well, what's going on in the installation? I can tell you that installation numbers generally follow those trends as well. And we've had some concerning things that have happened, but we've maintained control of those situations. We've got, and also, along with the Island County Public Health, in our communications with them, we see some of the same things in the cases in our population of, for a long time, there wasn't really community transmission in Island County and in our cases, but more recently, we've seen community transmission being an element. And so we need to continue to do those things, same main talking point, those things that mitigate the risk of coronavirus. So that's the washing the hands for 20 seconds or a couple of happy birthdays. That's the wearing face coverings, cloth face coverings, and screenings, and going through all the precautions that we have with travel and such. So what we've been seeing lately is more of the Liberty activities that create the problem. And this, COVID fatigue is real out there. People kind of we're social animals to begin with. People want to be social and they want to just get back out there. And that's, we got to keep this under control. And so I encourage you, beware of those social activities. If it's not somebody traveling somewhere for leaving Liberty, then a lot of times it's somebody traveling here to visit who's bringing it. We've certainly continued to see that trend. And then also, honestly, social activities with alcohol involved. People start getting a little more free in their interactions with folks once they get a little alcohol. And so we've seen that to be a factor as well, which originally, I mean not originally, but when we went to stage 2 and HBCon Bravo, we had a plan to open up the clubs. And so, but then that's when that decision point was also when we were kind of in that secondary spike that started coming up. So along with that was the thinking that, well, once we started introducing alcohol as part of our clubs here, that we run the risk of people not doing the right thing. And so I've continued to keep the clubs closed, and I'm not gravely concerned about where the recent trends are going. We continue to use our responsive measures to contain those situations. We've got the what we call the ROM barracks that we can put people into ROM. We certainly go through quarantine or isolation procedures. We've got a great clinic facility and FEO and relations with Island County that we work together on all the contact tracing. So all those things are definitely exercised and working, but in a few cases what has not been working is individuals getting a little lazy with their own personal COVID measures outside of the workplace, which has created some problems. So we need to take care of those. And one of the avenues that we can take care of those is through legal proceedings. If we have people who we've provided people direction and policy, and if you break the policy, then my expectation is that you're held accountable. And so certainly as we track these cases, if there are things that people have done that goes against some of the policy that we put out there, the page 13s that a lot of people signed about what you would do in HBCOM Bravo, what's permitted, what's not permitted, and same in Charlie. But if you break those policies, then you can expect some legal proceedings to follow. So that's that on this stuff. There was New London, Connecticut at the installation there, went back from Bravo to Charlie. Remember, HBCOM Alpha is a really nice life. HBCOM Bravo is a pretty good life. HBCOM Charlie was that life that we were living early on, which isn't as fun. And so New London, Connecticut went back into HBCOM Charlie because of what they were seeing around the community and on the installation, and also Gitmo just went backwards as well. So that is certainly a lever that can be used, but we don't want to be in that position. And we can institute some what we call Charlie measures if we need to as well, but we're not there right now. We just need people to be doing the right thing as individuals, and we'll continue to get through this. So I think that's it on the COVID stuff. Anything from folks here? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and work into some other issues. I'm going to start with what we call the N9, the Fleet and Family Readiness, Fleet and Family Service Center, and the MWR, and housing and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of content coming at you. Please, if you have questions, go ahead and put it in the comments, and folks here are tracking those. So one of the things I want to highlight is Spouse Employment, or Military Spouse Career Empowerment Expo. It's a one-day virtual event coming up on Thursday, the 15th of October. You can either take a quick snapshot of that or just go to Navy Life PNW website and you can get the information right there. So sign up for that. And so they've got some, we've got connecting with spouse education and career opportunities, career coaches, military one source consultants, resume tips, networking guidance, all kinds of stuff to empower military spouses to get out there and do the things that you want to do out there, because we all understand how challenging it is. And so we got that seminar on the 15th of October. So we'll work through this stuff here. And that's from 9 to 1500, 9 to 3 p.m. And MWR, providing a variety of programs. Talked about the Navy Birthday Celebration Week. Community recreation, 24th of October from 12 to 1600. So we used to do this great harvest and Halloween event over the Convergence Zone. Obviously, that was pre-COVID. But our great MWR team has come up with some stuff so that we can celebrate Halloween through our those activities. So we've got the Harvest Festival Spooky Trail. It's going to be a drive-through thing like we did with the Ready Navy event we did recently for emergency preparedness. That'll be at the Auto Skills Center. So 24th of October, Saturday, 12 to 1600. We've got the EFMP drive-through is 10 to 11:30, and we've got activities 24 to 31 October. So again, Navy Life PNW, you can look at the website, or you can also go to your Navy Life PNW app, okay, and pick up all that information and contact information. So take a look at that. Halloween, I'm sure we'll get the question, if it hasn't come in already, am I going to allow trick-or-treating in base housing? Okay, we're not there on the decision yet. I want to continue to see where trends are going with COVID, number one. And number two, if I was forced to make a decision right now, the easy decision is to say no trick-or-treating. But I'm really working with the folks here on the team to see if there's a way that we can provide some policy that I could reasonably expect the community would abide by, and police each other on so that we could provide that opportunity. So not there yet on a decision, and obviously we'll get there soon because the kids are eager, and my older son already calls it Halloween, but we'll see where we can go on that. And let's see, so Kegler's is NFL Sunday Ticket. We got the Monster Dash fitness stuff, 13th to 31st. Again, Navy Life P&W, some great stuff coming to the theater. So yes, we've got movies coming to the movie theater. We've got some good releases. We've got some good movies, and a great place for folks to come onto the base into an environment that we know our folks are doing the right protocols. We've got the right measures in place so that you can enjoy some recreation in a place on the base that's going through all that. And so obviously we're seeing theaters out in town open and close. I know I've seen some different headlines on that, but certainly we want to provide those opportunities here on base, and so they're there for you. Okay, Child and Youth Program continues obviously to be a challenge, but also we continue to incrementally make some more capacity there, and also today we expanded into the Clover facility, which is great. Get that facility running. We're sitting at about 200 Child Development Center spots, okay, which is much better than it was at the beginning of this, but it's not where we were going into COVID. So we're making steps along the way, and so we've got some really good processes in place there so that we can not take down an entire center if we have a positive, or when we get a positive. I mean, I would like to say if, but reasonably, and we've seen that with other child care centers in the region where there have been positives out there, but we've got some good responses ready to go, and the staff there continues to do an amazing job every day, not only taking care of the kids, but also working through how to continue to expand services. So Clover CDC reopened, partial capacity, so you should have gotten notification at the end of last week or over the weekend and dropped your kid off at Clover if they were supposed to be there. And then, so obviously there's some necessary shuffling of classes when we do that. There's some 1s and 2s that get shifted, but really we want stability for the kids as much as we can. But every now and then, when it makes sense to make a decision to expand or do something like this, then it does create a little bit of changing classes for some kids. And I appreciate the instability that brings, but for the broader perspective, that helps us to get up to that next step. And so SAC, the school-aged care youth center, still operating out of the 2 locations. So we've got the youth center where we've got first grade and up, but we've got the 30 kindergartners who were in the CDC as preschoolers last year, are still in the CDC right now and in the multipurpose room. And so we'll continue to evaluate when we can get those kindergartners up to the youth center as well. Let's see. For child development homes, we're still maintaining double-digit child development homes, which is good. But you know, we were pre-COVID, we were going to try to push to get to 40 homes. We're nowhere near that. However, I will say that there's opportunity out there if you want your own business and you want the support of the CDH system to be able to do child care in your home, then please go ahead and you can, again, Navy Life PNW, go to that the website or go to the app and you can take a look at that. And so you can become a certified provider there. And the nice thing about that is, you know, if you're on base and you provide that, then you go through the certification, the DoD certification. If you live out in town and want to do that, you can absolutely still do that. You do the CDC, the DoD certification, and you do the state licensing to do that. And so the CDH program takes care of all the back end stuff. It takes care of your, you know, anything. If you wanted to open it up yourself in in-home child care, you've got to do all your marketing and your accounting and all that kind of stuff. They take care of all that for you, so so you can run a home as a in-home care. So great opportunity there if you're interested. And then, so new Secretary of Defense priority for care program, all families must submit new documentation so we can validate what priority level you're qualified for. So, so make sure that you're providing that. Let's see. So all of our center-based care programs, okay, we've implemented a 2-week reservation form. So we were very easygoing with things through the first part of COVID, because we just wanted to make sure there was plenty of flexibility as we work through all this as a community. So now we're to a point where we still want to provide flexibility. There's still daily rates and that kind of thing. But what we need is we need people to commit to a 2-week schedule. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to really open up capacity to some of those other folks who aren't quite on the high enough priority, but they have certainly expressed the need for care. And then that way we can, because there's a lot of people who call in each day to try to get care. And some of them are getting in every time that they're calling in. It depends on which age group your child is in. So, but what really helps is if we have more stability in the people who have the priority and the spot, to make sure that they're bringing their children on those days. And so we're doing that 2-week program now, where on that Thursday you put in your 2-week schedule, and that allows us to then reach out to some other folks and basically understand how much extra capacity we have to try to serve as many people as possible. Because as I mentioned, we have currently 200 seats for Regatta and Clover combined, and I want to see 200 kids getting taken care of every day. And so, interestingly, we've been since the beginning of the year, we've been working through a project to try to understand how we can increase more capacity in the community, work with the community, and on the installation to increase capacity in childcare. And we've been working with a lot of community partners out there, state and local and non-federal entities. And interesting comment in a meeting last week was that, yes, across Washington State, we're seeing quite a few providers have reduced capacity because of the COVID measures, and also they have, we've lost some providers in Washington State because of all this. But the ones that are open, I don't think it's the case in Island County, but in a lot of other places, they have extra capacity because people still aren't bringing their kids in. That's certainly not what we're seeing here. However, within our centers, we do, actually I'll say every day that goes by, we do have some extra seats. So we're trying to honor all the call-ins, trying to make sure that we work through all the priorities, so we'll continue to do that. But this 2-week schedule is really good for having some stability in that process in the short term. Oak Harbor Intermediate, like I mentioned earlier, they're going a hybrid model, so now we're expecting to see a little bit of need out of them. And there's some stuff that all families that need care and are mission essential must add to the militarychildcare.com accounts the drop-down choice of COVID care, okay? So make sure you get into that militarychildcare.com and put in that COVID care drop-down. Okay. Child and youth programs, I think that's good. We've covered the school-age care, we've covered the CDCs, we've covered the CDHs. The last thing I'll cover on that is, again, really great staff there. I appreciate the work. We've continued to do the career fairs quarterly, at least, to try to keep our staffing at a good level so that we can have all the seats that we can. We continue to be in the CYP2 category for childcare, which places some limitations on us policy-wise, but we always look for ways to try to make sure that we're creating as much capacity as possible. A lot of that, I mean, really, a lot of the staff is back, and so we have some who are still on admin safety leave for their own underlying medical conditions, that kind of stuff. But really, we're kind of where we're going to be for a little bit. We might be doing some things soon to try to expand a little bit more. Okay, housing. All right, housing. So I'm going to share a little bit of data with you, and since from August, September 2020, we had 28 families that moved in inside of 10 days. And that's 10 days from not when you put your name on the wait list, back when you were at your last command or when you arrived here, but it's when you actually were ready to accept the house, basically. There's a lot of programmatic stuff there, but I really look at that time from when you were ready to actually accept the house. You know, you put your name on a wait list 6 months ago, you went through some I-stops, you got here, and you're ready to check into the Navy Lodge, you check with the Housing Service Center, and that's the time really that, okay, you're ready. And so we've had 28 families who were able to move into a house inside of the 10 days. Why is 10 days so important? Well, that's what our TLE is, right? So I want to make sure that I would love to see 100% of the folks who want a house moved in inside of that 10-day window. Okay, 28 families we got there. Unfortunately, 85 did not get inside that 10-day window, or they're still waiting for a move-in date, okay? And so we continue to work between us and HUD as a partnership, try to see what we can do to cut that down. There's certainly some things that we're working with HUD on how we can get more families into that 10-day window, and we'll continue to work through that. So we've made some progress in the housing front from the last year and a half, but it's not over yet. We still have a ways to go with working through that. Let's see. And for the HUD stuff out there, same that I say every time, and I did check it. So right there's the HUD Portal app. You got your announcements. It's signed out due to inactivity. So anyway, you got announcements on there. You can put your maintenance calls in there. So there you go. There's an announcement, postponed, breakfast on the go. That's been postponed. You look at maintenance history, and you can, right here, you can put a new maintenance request in. Right there, you can track your maintenance requests. See right there, you can do, that's for your routine maintenance. Anything that's urgent or emergency, you got to call it in. And then discard changes, you can go, and there's all the stuff that I've put in the system as well. So you can track all that to completion and all that. So definitely recommend the HUD Portal app and for your housing pleasure. Okay, anything else from housing? I think we got all that. Great. So let's go back to schools. So we talked about CDC, CDH, and the school-age care. So schools themselves, Oak Harbor, like I said, is working through that stuff. Anacortes also, I get the information through our awesome SLO, School Liaison Officer, Miss Patrina Murphy. She came on board a couple months ago, and she's been doing really great work, helped set up that Mars helicopter thing this morning, has met with all the school districts that we serve locally, and she's really, it's almost like she's been here for a couple years already. She's doing great. And so Anacortes School District will be offering in-person half-day instruction starting early November. So they've been purely distance. They're working their way into a hybrid model of their own. So obviously anybody in Anacortes School District is going to be getting their information. But that's basically, it's great news that Anacortes is working that way as well. And for all school districts, Impact Aid Survey. So Impact Aid, okay, there's a DoD agency called the Office of Economic Adjustment, OEA. And what they do is they provide funds to communities to offset the cost of carrying installations around, because I'm not a resident of Oak Harbor for tax reasons. Obviously we pay sales tax in the area, but there's no income tax, but there's building and occupancy taxes that the corporations pay, all those kinds of things. And so OEA comes in and they provide funding. And that funding for Impact Aid, which is the school district's ability to teach our kids is contingent on the paperwork we have to submit as parents at the beginning of every academic year. And so I think all the Anacortes, Oak Harbor, and Coopville have gone to electronic submission of that impact aid form. So please, if you have a kid in the school system, make sure that you're providing that impact aid form, because then they can get, Oak Harbor gets a few $1 million each year based on that. And so certainly, and that funding doesn't just go to military kids. It goes to the school district to use for needed infrastructure or programs or whatever it is. And then, so it's important that we do our role in the community to make sure that we maximize the amount of funding that they can get from OEA. Free and reduced lunch applications. So that free and reduced lunch is going to end the 31st of December. So, so just watch out for that and complete those forms. So again, Katrina Murphy, Navy Life PNW app. You can get the SLOS info, and if you got any questions about that stuff. Okay? All right. We got a question, Your Honor? Saratoga Gate. Yes, there is one, but it's closed. So let's talk Saratoga Gate. So we continue to see lesser numbers of people coming into the base. Again, you cannot telework, security, wrench turning, a lot of jobs you can't telework, but we still are seeing a good number of jobs that people are doing teleworking. And so that's why I believe that we're still seeing lower numbers than our pre-COVID 12-month average. And so we're still seeing that 15 to 20% reduction in our gate traffic. So it does impact, you know, for you folks coming to the Northwest or in and out of the clinic and ASTC there by Saratoga Gate. Certainly, I understand that it's a little bit extra commute time, and but I'm just not, between that and also what I continue to see. Another impact we've had since COVID is we've seen our security force numbers have gone down because they're prioritizing forward deployed, overseas locations, that kind of stuff for our security personnel. And we still keep our ASF folks as far as making sure that each ASF member needs to do 2 watches per month. So that helps us in our sentry manning at gates. But I'm not feeling the urge right now to open up Saratoga Gate. And so I would continue to work with folks to see where we are on that. We expanded hours of Maui Gate a little bit with schools coming back into session in person, and and that's the only change we've made recently. So that's where we are with Saratoga Gate. I appreciate the question, and we'll continue to look at that and see when we can open that up during the commute hours. All right, commissary. I shop at the commissary every week. You guys have heard me say that before. The shelves are not 100% full, and it's a challenge out there. I will tell you that the commissary staff still is great. I love what they do there. They're working hard to take what our distributors give us to make sure that that stuff is stocked, making sure that we have a clean environment. We took the ID, so we got the relief from the ID checking, which was good. I think that was the right call. And then also, I took the person off the front. I asked the commissary manager to take the person off the front to make sure that that person can be back there doing stuff that needs to be done inside of the facility. And so the reason I did that, as far as that person was there sanitizing carts as well. I go out to some stores in town. I go to the Navy Exchange, and customers are doing their own sanitization of those carts. I think we've come far enough along that we all understand the expectation that you need to wear a cloth face covering, so I don't need to have somebody out in front of the commissary exchange telling people to put a cloth face covering on, and that you need to sanitize things like carts. And so therefore those things should be provided there so that people can just grab a cart and go on in and do that. So our distributors are continuing to struggle through the pandemic, and periodically we've all seen different elements of the food and logistics train go through their suffering. But our two main distributors have been providing us with 60% and 45% of the average fill rate for the last 3 months. So definitely not good numbers. And so we continue to push up through the commissary headquarters and through whoever we can that we need a little more love on the distribution. So meanwhile, you know, they'll continue to work hard there to fill the needs and provide as much as they can within that. All right. Let's see. Sorry to go back to, well, I'm not sorry. I'm always good talking about CYP, but one of the points I wanted to bring up, that project that I was talking about to try to expand capacity, we're looking for ideas, okay? And I know that there's some people out there who are commonly providing suggestions and feedback, and so I encourage you to do that for us. And so tomorrow at 1300, that's 1 p.m., we're going to be doing a closed session discussion. And so we've been doing them the last few weeks with those community entities and state officials. And so I've been pushing out to the Ombudsman Network this opportunity so that if you want to join us to provide some feedback, please contact the front desk of the Fleet and Family Support Center, 257 Navy, and they can get you the contact info so that you can join the session tomorrow at 1300 if you want to provide that. If you don't make that and you want to talk to us anyway about some ideas, please call them anyway, and we'll get you the contact info to provide your inputs there. All right, took care of all those. Did I mention there's an open house going on? It was a great day today, a lot of great content. Tomorrow, also Facebook and YouTube, so you can check out all the great stuff, the videos that are posted tomorrow as well on that virtual open house. Voting, I don't know if you heard, but there's an election coming up soon, maybe a couple weeks from now. And so the only reason I bring it up is to say that, you know, it is our responsibility as citizens to vote. And so no matter where you're registered, fvap.gov, fvap.gov, you can get on there and request your absentee ballot so that you can participate in that process. And certainly listen to the radio on the way over. It's votewa.gov, I think, is the Washington State one. But anyway, get out there and vote. Talk that. Oh, one of the things I forgot to talk about with COVID. So let's talk about COVID travel. That was right here. So this is one of the things, again, we continue to try to find ways to help people make appropriate decisions on this. There's the regional travel planner map, which you can find on our website in the Navy Region Northwest website that gets updated each week, which shows you what counties are green, yellow, red, and the trends there. And so that's important for your Liberty decisions. And so also, you know, we want to provide a better tool to do risk assessment for COVID for travel as well. So we've been working on this. We're getting it out to the command leaders. And so the point of this risk assessment tool is for supervisors to be able to sit down with folks who want to go on vacation or even, you know, need to go travel for TAD, for work or whatever, and look at how can we mitigate the risk of COVID. Because again, you know, I have seen some stuff recently about some potential studies that commercial air, you know, travel may or may not, you know, be a vector to be concerned about. But what I will tell you is that we have, I'm not going to link it to ComAir travel or to, you know, the hubs that we have people interacting in for ComAir travel or whatever is going on. But certainly we see when people travel, we see a little higher incidence of COVID. So, so there's this risk assessment tool. So there's a whole bunch of information on the front that people can work through. And so this is for a sailor or somebody to sit down with their supervisor when they're looking at their leave plans and determine how can we do this in a way that mitigates the risk of COVID. So there's some information on here. And then also on the back, so this is the meat of the matter. So this is where we're going to have 4 different levels, the green, yellow, orange, and red. And so there's different things in there. And there's some references on the bottom. You got some QR codes so you can scan it with your phone camera and pull up the website. So for example, you know, if you go low risk things, you know, mode of travel. I'm driving alone or with my immediate family members who I live with every day. And then what's the county that I'm going to? Is it a green county? That's low risk. My group size is less than your close family members. Your lodging. Are you staying at a family home or maybe a hotel for one night? And what kind of activities are you doing? Going hiking, camping, walking with the family, skiing with your own gear, those kinds of things. So you get 1 point for each thing. So you can basically, as one of the leaders that we socialize this with said, well, every day I'm at a 5 because I'm at 1 in each of those. So yep, you add up all those, you're at a 5. So nobody can start with less than a 5. And then some moderate activities, you're traveling by a local bus or POVing with some friends. Your group size is 5 to 20, extended family or close friends. You're going to see some, you know, family members. When you're getting into airplane travel, you're up into the high or very high category, depending on what the different types of activities going on. So again, this is just something so that a supervisor can sit down and say, well, you know, you map all this out, you got, you know, a couple of high ones in here, so we might have to ROM you, but if you do this instead, then you're more moderate activity. So again, it's an assessment tool. It's trying to provide people as many opportunities to get to do things, but also figuring out if they might need to ROM when they get back, if it's something necessary they're going to. So I think it's a good resource. We're going to get that out to leaders so that people can use that if they want as a tool. All right. Talked about those things. And it's getting a little chilly, windy, cold. It's not snowing yet, but when I was coming here, this is my first tour in the Pacific Northwest. When I was coming here, people told me that it hardly ever snows here, and I've been through 2 big snowstorms. So we've been working this year to really refine our winter weather preparations. We're doing a tabletop tomorrow, putting out some information on what the processes for winter weather decision making are going to be like. We had a big windstorm last night, and we had one the previous night, which obviously took out some utilities in our internet services in residences. Mine was out. Got to send my kids off to school, and then I couldn't watch any Netflix or anything all day because my internet was out. But anyway, so yeah, windstorms are coming. We had the big winter solstice winter storm of 2018 that took out power lines, all that kind of stuff. We've had the snowstorms. So here's what I'm not going to go too far into winter weather, but what I will say is this, is make sure you got your Puget Sound Energy website or app, because if you live on base or you live out in town, that's where you're going to find the information on outages for electricity, okay? And then also, you know, what other providers you have, your internet provider, you can look at outages on their websites and stuff as well. So have those things available to you. And then for winter weather, we'll provide a little more information when we get closer to snowstorms on what the decision making is going to look like. But I will continue to try to be a little conservative, knowing that individual commands or teams within commands can bring people in if they're mission essential, even though, for example, the base is, you know, mission essential personnel only. You might have an entire squadron that's mission essential that day. And so it'll be up to those leaders to work through their process of notifying folks and that kind of stuff. But along with that, it is getting chilly. So what I will tell you is Public Works is going through all the buildings. Obviously, a lot of buildings are still on this whole thing where you got to turn the heat on in the fall, turn it off in the spring. So they started on the 7th of October, and by the 30th of October, they'll have got through all the buildings where they need to turn heat on. So, so in the meantime, if you're in one of those buildings, know that heat is coming your direction. Let's see. So as we get into the holidays, we do have over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, we are looking at, from the installation, we're looking at 4 to 8 weekends. That's the installation commands, the 1,000 people who work within my command. It's up to the other commands to set their own liberty and leave schedules. Some commands are working like 4 leave periods because of COVID measures and potential for people to have to ROM and all that kind of stuff. So you really need to talk to your command leaders about what your plan is. But from the air station perspective, we're looking at those 3 4-day weekends. And so, and also, you know, security, I'm going to be providing security folks opportunities to get leave. So just like we do every holiday leave period, we're going to go to a much constricted gate posture as we're working through port and starboard for a month or so to work through leave for security members as well. And so we'll be pushing that information out to folks as far as what that's going to look like for gates coming up. The Navy Exchange is doing like a it's not Blue Friday, but it's I don't know what they're calling it, Blue Friday week, Blue Week, whatever it is. But it's going to be a longer period of sales for that kind of Thanksgiving shopping season. I've already, amazingly, you know, I think Christmas stuff started coming in like a month ago. But anyway, Navy Exchange is going to be doing that. So so check out their information to see if you're into that on shopping at the Navy Exchange. Sales. Okay. Speaking of Navy Exchange, the Navy Lodge is part of the Navy Exchange. Last week we had the presentation of the Carlson Award. So I'll say it again, really great team there. 3 out of the last 4 years, 8 total Carlson Awards in the last little bit. Really extraordinary team, extraordinary leadership by Connie Chamberlain Punch, and she's wrapping up her time and retiring. She's got quite a legacy leading the Navy Lodge around here. So I wish her the best and really appreciate everything that they've done, the whole team over there. $1.7 million renovation, providing really quality rooms over there. It's really the first place that a lot of people are going when they come here to Whidbey Island. Island Transit is in business, so if you're commuting to Altfield, certainly look at Island Transit as an opportunity to come on and off the base. They hit the Oak Harbor main station, Victory Terrace, Crescent Harbor, and then come in and run along the base. One of the things we're doing, if you look at this patch right here, it's NES Whidbey Island patch, and it's got the wings, it's got a couple aircraft. When you look at a higher resolution picture of that insignia, it kind of looks, you know, intruder-ish, prowler-ish, whatever. And so, great history. Check out every Thursday, Throwback Thursday on our Facebook. We provide some great history and connect that to what we're doing nowadays. So a really extraordinary effort doing that, very informative, a lot of fun. So likewise, we want the patch to be reflective of where we're going and not just where we've been. And so there's some elements to that, but we're going through a patch redesign. We've already gotten one submission in from one of our Team Whidbey teammates over at the clinic. And so for the NASW insignia, it's got to be a triangle with 5-inch sides, professional and not cartoonish, aviation theme, can have a motto or quote, and can have appropriate symbols, mythical figures, animals, designs. So bring us your creativity, and potentially you could be the one who designs the patch for the next 20, 40 years at Whidbey Island. So we'll be putting more information out about that and more guidelines and where to submit your design here soon on Facebook and stuff. All right, I think that's everything on the list. Anybody got anything else? Any other questions come in? Well, we got like 10 people watching today.
No, they're answering the questions right here.
Okay, great. A lot of questions. Yeah, a lot of answers going in, and good. So Virtual open house continues through tomorrow. The Navy birthday week celebration stuff continues through the 18th, 245 years. So go to Navy birthday celebration, which you would think that's like the U.S. Navy one, but that's the NES Whidbey Island. Go to Navy birthday celebration. Great work by another team. Our Navy Ball Committee put that together. They got a great video on there. And really, you know, Team Whidbey is a collection of a lot of commands and in one big team. But there's so many teams within this organization who are doing great stuff out there, and definitely appreciate all that effort. So, okay, I think that's a wrap. So certainly, if you have any questions that come in that didn't get answered, then please send them to the NES Whidbey Island PAO email address or through messaging, and we'll get you an answer. So, the last thing I'll say before that finger cuts me off, okay, is COVID. Let's keep this under control, okay? It's individuals have got to keep doing things that individuals as part of our community need to be doing. And so I understand the desire to get out there and go to a restaurant, to get together with friends and all that kind of stuff. The governor provides guidance, okay? We've provided guidance and policy. You need to abide to those. But even within those numbers, you know, if you're gonna have a group of 5 getting together, there's no reason to have that group of 5 all huddle around in close proximity. Try to do something outside, do things, make right decisions so that we can all keep coronavirus under control. We can continue to maintain mission readiness, which we've got deploying squadrons. We got swap outs going on in the fall. So we got squadrons getting ready to deploy. We got squadrons that are coming home. Homecoming's still the same as far as that kind of school pickup at the terminal for the main bodies, and we're working the fly-ins with those commands. So keep those individual and family things going to mitigate the risk of COVID. All right, let's push it back downhill and keep this thing under control. I'm not saying expectation of getting to zero. Zero would be great, but let's keep this under control, keep the community transmission down, and maintain our mission readiness. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks, Team Whidbey. We'll see you next time.